Hi everyone, this video is for 10th standard students and we are going to discuss in this video a chapter that is Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. It's a quite long chapter. So before beginning this chapter, we must know certain things about Nelson Mandela and what is this long walk to freedom. Then what is apartheid system. First, let us discuss about Nelson Mandela. As you know, he was a great leader of South Africa who fought for the freedom of black people. And Long Walk to Freedom is the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. And there was a system existing in South Africa for a long time that was known as apartheid system. Apartheid system is a system in which people were separated because of their race and color. There was a political and social discrimination among white and black. So the white was having supremacy over the black, and the black people were treated very badly. They were considered just as slaves, sometimes less than human beings. So automatically there was a struggle for these black people to fight against this discrimination. And slowly, first they hidingly started a group working for the freedom of black people. Later on they formed a party which is known as ANC, African National Congress. So as a young person, black person, Nelson Mandela also joined in that party and struggled for the freedom of black people. Later on they achieved their freedom, and in 1994 there was a democratic election and Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa. So this autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, he explains about the struggle that he underwent and how they achieved freedom for black people. So this chapter is an extract taken from this particular autobiography, that is Long Walk to Freedom, and it is given for us to study. So it's a quite long chapter, as I said earlier. So I won't be able to explain it line by line because we have got limited time. So I will try to give you in nutshell, in very short, the meaning of the content that is given in each paragraph. Later on, after reading the chapter, you will understand the content properly. So let's go to the first paragraph. In the first paragraph, Nelson Mandela says about that particular day in which he has taken the oath-taking ceremony as a president. So he says it was a bright day, a wonderful day in all means, climatically as well as emotionally. People were very happy because their leader became the president, and black people were so happy that there will be no more discrimination in South Africa because of their color. Then he says, for the past few days, he was gathered or he was surrounded by many dignitaries from all over the world. From around 140 countries, dignitaries came there to appreciate him. And he says that the gathering or the function is going to be the largest one in which so many international dignitaries going to participate it. This is what is explained in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, Nelson Mandela says that the ceremony took place in the wonderful, beautiful amphitheater that was there in the Union Building of Pretoria. Pretoria, you know, it is the capital of South Africa, and this Union Building, that is the presidential office building, or we can say like Washington DC for USA. So like that, the president resided there only in Union Building in South Africa. So the buildings were built with sandstone. It was a wonderful building, and there was an amphitheater. Amphitheater means an open space where people could sit, like an auditorium like that, or a open, what is called, a stadium like that place it was. There only the oath taking ceremony took place. So he says, for a long time, for many years, this amphitheater or this Pretoria or this Union building was the place of white people, because never ever there was a black president. Always a white person only became the president of South Africa, and there was no democracy for the black people. So this was the first time a black person is going to have supremacy over that place, and the people were very happy, and there was a gathering of a rainbow of colors. That is what he mentioned there, rainbow of colors. That means there was no difference now, all colors were there, no black, no white, like that separation was not there, all were present there, and it was going to be a non-racial government in South Africa. So that is what he explained in that second paragraph. So now when you go through the paragraph, you will understand more. In the third paragraph, Nelson Mandela says that when he came for oath-taking ceremony, he was accompanied. Accompanied means came along with his daughter. His daughter's name is Zenani. And before he took the pledge, two other deputy presidents, the first deputy president and the second deputy president, they took the pledge. Then was the chance of uh, Nelson Mandela. So he took the pledge, uh, telling that he will obey and uphold the constitution of the nation, and he will devote himself for the well-being of the people. Then after that he gives a speech there. So this speech is very important, because sometime a question can come. Write the content of Nelson Mandela's inaugural speech as a president. So first I will just read this speech, then I will tell in short what was the content of that speech. So the speech goes like this. Today, all of us do, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. We, who were outlaws not so long ago, have today been given the rare privilege to be host to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. So this was the speech given by Nelson Mandela. Now I will tell in a very short way the content of the speech that was given by Nelson Mandela. First he says that we have come here today to give glory to the newborn liberty. And he says that all humanity should be proud about this moment, because we have put an end to a human disaster that lasted too long. When we talk about disaster, it can be of two types. This I am not giving the explanation of the speech, I am talking about the disaster. We must understand clearly, because sometime a question can come that about which disaster Nelson Mandela mentioned in the speech. So, human disaster, he says human disaster. That means a disaster that is created by human being. So, disaster can be of two types: human-made disaster and natural disaster. Natural disasters like tsunami, earthquake and all, we can put it natural disaster. Human disaster, the best example can be coronavirus, COVID-19. We do not know whether it is a human disaster or natural disaster, but if people are allowed to move around and people start spreading this virus, then it will become a human disaster. Anyway, the human disaster that existed in South Africa was apartheid system. So it lasted too long, and he says that he put end to that human disaster, and the humanity is so proud about it. Then in the next lines, he says about the world leaders, those who are come there. He says up to that time, the South Africa was considered to be outlaws. Outlaws means a country which is not having diplomatic relation with other nations. Many nations were not having good relation with South Africa when this apartheid system was existing there. So because of that, many benefit South Africa was not getting. When two countries are having good relation, both the countries will benefit a lot, economically, politically, and all other ways. So he says, thanks to all the leaders, world leaders who came there for participating in the victory of justice, peace, and human dignity. Then he just mentions that it's not enough. Now we have got only political emancipation, political freedom only. There are other areas where we need to liberate ourselves. And he mentions we need to liberate ourselves from the bondages of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discriminations. And he tells that it is not the end of everything. We have got political freedom, but that is not the end. But there are other areas where we need to now concentrate for getting freedom or liberate ourselves. Then at the end he just says that the apartheid system should never again come back to South Africa. Never again we should undergo uh, this kind of situation where one person is overpowering the another person of same nation. Then at the end he hope and pray for the continuation of this liberty that they are having, and he just wish that God will bless Africa. So this is the uh, content of that speech. So you can put it in your own words, and if a question comes that what was the content of Nelson Mandela's inaugural speech, you can write it down. Now I think it is enough for time being, and read the chapter again and try to understand the content properly. Okay, so we'll meet you in the next part of the video, and the next part of the chapter we will discuss there. So until then, bye, have a nice time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep learning. Thank you.